Welcome back to the free email marketing series. I keep saying the same intro every time, but we're back. I think we're now the 5th video, and we're going to be going through the sunset flow, which is arguably one of the most important things to keeping your list nice and healthy and your emails landing in the inbox. How the sunset flow works is it cleans out all the old redundant leads. So let's say they haven't interacted with your emails, they haven't clicked on any of them, they haven't even been on your website. It's then going to remove them from your list. That means when you're sending your campaigns, it's only going to be sending to people that are actually interested in your product and actually want to purchase or potentially purchase. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how we actually structure the emails, the whole strategy behind it, and then lastly, how to set everything up on Klaviyo. So stay tuned for all that, and we're breaking down everything bit by bit so you fully understand the process. So we're actually staying with the fashion brand we showed before and all the other tutorials, keeping everything the same, so it's kind of got the same background of marketing all throughout. And as you can see here, there's no designs on anything what we're sending here. I've actually found with Sunset Flow, we've had better results with keeping people and maybe the high purchases, but in general, it's not really a flow that's going to generate you a lot of revenue. The whole goal is to clean out your list. And if they don't want to react with your content, it doesn't resonate with them, then we're more than happy to suppress them, remove them from the list, bring down our Klaviyo bill, and only be targeting people that actually want to receive our content. So the reason why I actually send text-based emails in the Sunset Flow is because overall it does have a high deliverability, so the chances are it's going to land in the inbox, which is brilliant. And we do have all the chances of them actually being reminded of your brand and then clicking to stay subscribed. Also as well, it's like a nice little pattern interrupt. It looks a lot more personal. Like this one here is purely just a text-based email. There's no logos, no nothing else like that. It's literally just like an email as if me and you were sending emails between us on our personal account. Comes across a lot more personal, and again, it breaks up the pattern, so it actually thinks, oh, I might actually read this and see what they have involved. And then secondly, we do have another follow-up email. You don't want to send too many emails with this sunset flow because it is really going to hurt your deliverability. The more emails you're sending to more unengaged people, your opens are going to drop and your click-throughs, well, they're not even going to exist if people don't open them. So keeping it to 2 emails is nice and easy. The second email, we have included a little bit more text in there, design in there to make it seem a little bit more creative, stand out a little bit more, giving them the last chance to actually sign up or stay signed on to our mailing list. The way we do this is actually by opening the email and then clicking onto your website. That'll then keep them refreshed within our ecosystem. There is also, if you go into this, you can throw some designs in there. There's nothing stopping you from doing designs. Another good one, we don't actually run many discounts with this brand. However, you can more than offer them a discount to come back. It's like a 10%, 15%, just to get them back on the site and then potentially using your item. So now I'm going to be breaking down how we actually set this up in Klaviyo. So first you want to set up your segment in Klaviyo. So obviously go into list and segments, create a new segment, and we want to label this however it may be, your brand, your agency, Sunset Flow segment, and then we can go from there. So we want to make sure that they can firstly receive marketing. If you're based in Europe, obviously GDPR, especially in England, you need to be able to consent to receiving marketing. In the States and places like that, it's not really as strict and monitored. So as you can see, can receive marketing. Number 2 is these dates as well, so the times in between, they can be dependent on your brand. So if you're sending a lot of emails and, like you're doing like 3 or 4 campaigns a week, they've had so many chances to interact with your brand, you can actually bring this down to 90 days and take it up to 180. The reason why I'll put 108 in here is just a good starting point, and it does give people enough time to receive everything. They're going to go through near enough your whole ecosystem in terms of re-engagement campaigns, sales, everything like that. So it does give them enough time to have a chance of actually interacting with your brand. Second of all, we want to make sure that they have received at least 10 emails in that last 180 days. I mean, the chances are they probably have going to receive this if you're sending consistent campaigns. We want to make sure that they haven't opened any emails, clicked any emails, they've been active on the site, viewed product. I'm going to go through this slowly so you can take screenshots of these dates. Start a checkout, placed order. We literally want to cover every part of their ecosystem. So it's going to account for everything. Let's say, for example, they come from ads, they click on your page and then they start a checkout, however it may be, and they're registered on your list. We want to make sure we're not getting rid of these people because even though they haven't interacted with emails, they are still interested in the brand. So long term, they could end up turning into a customer. It just means they might not check their emails as much. So making sure we cover every aspect of the ecosystem. I'm going to scroll through things super slow so you can come back, make sure you get the dates and stuff which suit your brand too. I would definitely keep it around 180 days in all honesty, and then what this is going to do is then create another segment for us to then suppress them once everything works true. Let's jump straight into creating the flow. So I'm going to jump into flows and type in sunset. I'm going to just click this one because it's registered with Shopify, but we'll go through non-customers and customers. On here, you want as well want to make sure the trigger is sunset segment and then use template. So as you can see, this one was actually customers versus non-customers. There's nothing wrong with doing this. In my opinion, it's not really going to make a whole world of difference. They haven't really interacted with your brand. They've probably forgotten it. You're not on their radar. So if you're targeting customers and non-customers, I really don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. So I'm just going to delete this conditional split really quickly. And as you can see, this one has got 3 emails in here. I'm going to delete this email here and then delete this. And then here it is, everything easy. So when someone's added to the sunset segment, so when they've gone through everything like that, they're then going to be triggered into this flow. So the basic timings that come with this template, they are pretty standard, to be honest, and they're not going to make a huge load of difference. Even the numbers you're going to be getting going through your list, they're not really going to be building up a substantial amount of evidence to actually make some good improvements. So keeping these times, in all honesty, I'll maybe delay this 5 to 10 days in between. And then we want to give them a little bit of time after the second email, just in case they open it or they engage with it a couple of days afterwards, before then enabling them as unengaged. So as you can see here, it's automatically created a property. So as we get to the end, it's going to create a property, unengaged, Boolean, which means yes, true or false. And once it's true, we can then make an unengaged segment and then choose to suppress that once it starts building up. One thing I did actually just want to quickly mention is if when you're creating the segment itself, if you include like a product which people aren't consistently rebuying or you have a new seasons drop, consider making the last purchase at least like 365 days, because we know they're interested in your product and they've already purchased it. So you can actually increase this time, especially if it's something that's, like I said, it's not got instant demand. So they're not going to need to replenish it. You're not dropping new seasons. If it's a product that which potentially, like could wear out over a year, or they're going to look to buy something new, then definitely think about making this time longer. Let's jump into the email. So the first thing which you really want to focus on here is the subject line and preview text. We want to make sure it's as eye-catching as possible, gives them a reason to click. And one method which some people agree with, some people don't with, is the RE method. So if me and you are going through a series of emails, it's going to come up RE, which means they've replied. So when this comes through in your inbox, it almost looks like you're halfway through a conversation with someone. So it does come across a little bit more appealing and it will capture that click. So that is one thing people have been using. We have tried it as a brand. It does bring some good results, but I know there's a few people out there which don't necessarily agree with the method behind it. Second of all, another great one is, as mentioned before, is you can just throw in like a 15% discount. We've missed you, this, that, and the other. Make your email stand out as much as possible. Maybe even add in some emojis into the subject line. You have to remember on mobile phone, the subject line is what's going to first appear on your notification. Preview text is obviously the smaller text below that. So we really want to stand out, making sure the subject line is the banger. Preview text is just what's going to capture any extra information you're going to include in there. So I wouldn't necessarily focus too much on that. Focus on making sure your subject line's a banger with some emojis, clear like call to actions, we miss you, 15% off, make sure things completely stand out. So as I mentioned before, we like to send just text-based emails. An email template like this is still going to have images, it's still going to come across as that type of email. So what we can do is if we go into change template here and then text only email on here. So what this is going to do, completely strip your email back to basics and it's going to come up literally as you've just written it in your Gmail. So literally copy and paste your text in here. Once you copied and paste your text, make sure your font, your links, anything you've got in there. So here, stay subscribed. You want to make sure if we come to this link image, it's going to take them to your website, your homepage, or whatever that may be. And so you make sure to highlight the whole thing. So it's going to highlight this. And then let's just put Google in it. Oh, wrong one. Let's just put Google. So you can see that it's going to be, oh, the whole thing wasn't highlighted. So as you can see, the whole thing has then become hyperlinked, which means obviously it's interactive. So when they click it, it's going to take them to your website. Make sure as well that you have got all your brand's fonts in there. So as you can come to here, let's say, for example, your brand uses Arial. Make sure it's in Arial. Make sure you are all good to like a nice font size, colors matching, everything like that as well. You can also come to this bit down in the bottom and add personalization. So if you have been collecting first names, however you may be personalizing things in your pop-up form or capturing data, you can just come to here, first name, and then put hey. Always put something like hey there, or for example, this one is hey, oh hey, so we just put hey there. So what this is going to do is replace their name with there, so it'll be oh hey there. instead of their name if you haven't captured it, for example. And then we want to click save, and then that is your email done there. And then I will just quickly show you on the second email too, in case you wanted to make it a little bit more custom. So this is what it includes on the template. It's going to pull your dynamic block in, any products you may have, and it's just got some basic text here. I'm just going to delete all this now and drag an image across. Basic stuff. So if you just click S on the keyboard, it's then going to slice, and then make sure that it's covered all your borders. Make sure it's 600 wide and it is not going over the boundaries here or under. We want to make sure it's going to fit central in the email, and then we'll just do that, and then export JPEG and then save to downloads. Then we can literally just simply just drag and drop into there, and then you are sorted. I'm going to drag and drop a text block in here too. Flick in between this and then paste the format in. Keep that the same. This isn't going to interact with the personalization, so you just come to the top here where it says add personalization and then first name, hey there. And then that is pretty much it. And then as we mentioned before, we can have the universal blocks here. So if we come down, we have got the footer, which is already added. So if you have any other links in there, this isn't actually for this brand, this is for another brand. But if you've got any links in there, so it's going to take them through to any of your collections, bestsellers, sales, anything like that, social media panels. And then we also have a unsubscribe button down there as well. Make sure we have a button in here as well. You can add one of these buttons in here, or you can just drag it in from your Figma saying stay subscribed, shop now, however call to action you want to include. Make sure that is included in your email. As always, you can preview text and send it to your email. And you can also check the image size as well at the top. So with something like this, you're not going to be struggling for size. With this, you're not going to be struggling for total size of the email because there's not really any images in there, not many pictures. So it's just going to be a simple email. It's going to be staying below the maximum size. With this, it's always best to test your subject lines, preview text. So you can actually run conditional splits or A/B tests in here if you wanted to, test different call to actions, different offers. I think honestly, sunset flow shouldn't be something that you're putting a lot of time and effort into improving. It's one of those things, if they haven't engaged, then the likelihood of them converting is obviously a lot smaller than people that are engaged, people that are actually active with your brand. So I would focus on improving that aspect of your email marketing. Not to mention as well, the subject line and preview text here, we can include a little bit of urgency, creating a little bit more like curiosity and that kind of despair that they're going to miss out on this deal, they're not going to receive anything from the brand, so it's going to then encourage them a little bit more to actually convert. Just taking note of this property profile here, so create unengaged as true. I'm just going to click exit on here. So you want to come to list and segments, make sure you're creating a new segment. We can call this unengaged. So what this is then going to do is anyone that's gone through the whole flow of your sunset flow and then they're put into that unengaged bit, which I just mentioned, they'll be then placed in a unengaged segment. So when we come down here, properties about someone and then select property, we want to click unengaged. It's not actually going to show anything on here because this account isn't actually live and no one's actually going to be in this property, so it's not going to show anything up. And then we want to make sure it's set as Boolean, as I mentioned before, and then is true. So then anyone that's true in that segment is then going to be put into the unengaged. Then when you have any free time, I would suggest anywhere between 3 to 6 months. We then want to suppress them. So then what that's going to do is take them out of your active list and then put them suppressed. You can actually unsuppress people, but there's not really any benefit of doing this. That's then going to then take them out of your total billing. So let's say, for example, you suppress, let's say 5,000 people. It then brings you down from like 20,000 to 15,000. That's then going to reduce your monthly Klaviyo bill. So not only are you keeping your list health clean, you're actually reducing your monthly costs as well. I would also suggest as well, like let's say, for example, 6 months falls to now, which is at the 30th of October. I would actually consider doing this probably after Q4 because you have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas. So having these people in your list is probably a good chance keeping them now, just because they're potentially them converting on like Black Friday sales, because obviously biggest sale of the year, even Christmas sales are big. If you're in the UK and Europe, you have Boxing Day, January sales. Generally, it is just a high buyer intent part of the year. So suppressing around about Q4, I would suggest considering doing that Q2, Q3 when it's a little bit quieter. Or if you are a seasonal business as well. So let's say, for example, you're focused on selling like swimwear, like loungewear, like that type of thing. I would consider suppressing that in the winter months when obviously your brand isn't as busy and it hasn't got the demand. As always, we have got to the end of the video and I want to say a massive thank you for watching. Just saying, we have got a deal with our agency right now that we're going to add a minimum of 75k new email revenue in the next 90 days, or we will work for free. If you're interested in finding out how that could work for your brand, feel free to click that link here, get my free email audit, or click the link in the description where we can. Further than that, click in the link below and there's going to be my Calendly link, which will give you a calendar where you can book a 10-minute call with us discussing what we can do for your brand. So as always, I want to say a massive thank you for watching. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, turn the bells on, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for the next video in the free email marketing course.